I remember when the first film came out, and I remember looking at all these reviews about how wonderful this movie was. And I think it was the New York Times, but there was one article that said, as great as the movie is, the biggest crime is that there is not enough Dom and Letty. Little did I know that a quarter century later, we would still be playing these characters that represent the longest love story in cinema.
It's really cool to see Momoa come on board. I think that we haven't had a villain this luscious since Charlize Theron. So it's like having like this male equivalent of this feminine energy that's just so badass. And I think he just adds this wonderful element of revenge with a smirk, you know, that I think is gonna be tasty.
It is an honor to come into an establishment for 20 years and you would think you'd have like this nervousness or, I don't know, just being scared to come into it because there's a lot of heavy hitters in this, and I knew my first scene was like Charlize too, and I was like, oh God. Like, I haven't worked, there's only been a few amount of actors where I've worked on that level. But I was really excited, and I hadn't played a villain in a very long time. I hadn't played a villain in probably 10 years. I really wanted to bring something fun. I wanted to bring something to the, you know, the lineage that hadn't been done yet. He'd just been done wrong in his world, in his mind. And so I just had a lot of fun with it. And the truth of it is, I think people are gonna have a great time because I approach it like an audience member, going like, what do I wanna see?
Dante is really angry, right? That's all I can say is Dante is really one angry guy, but really well dressed for an angry guy. Like, for all that anger, you do have a lot of time to go to wherever you're shopping, Versace or whatever, to get well dressed. You're the best dressed villain in the world. I mean, in cinema history, right?
Dom this time is worried for his family and worried for the world. The stakes are real. He's met his match. This enemy is a snake. We don't know where he's going. It's strange to have an enemy who adores you, has analyzed you, and has learned from you for 20 years, and who's trying to mimic you. And when you have that, it's very strange. It's like having an obsessed fan.
The Toretto family has been targeted by Dante, and this is a true revenge strategy. And Dom calls on his little brother to help protect his son because he doesn't want to put his sister in that crossfire. He wants his sister to get to safety with Brian and their family. And, you know, I'm called in to kind of be a guardian to Little B.
Tess is Mr. Nobody's daughter. She is technically agency, but she doesn't go along with the way that the agency's headed now that her father isn't there, and believes in the legacy that her father set up, which is standing with Dom, standing with the Toretto family, and is fighting for that. She ultimately loses that battle pretty early on and then goes on her own mission to do what she feels is right in her heart.
I think Dom's superpower is his spidey senses, you know, if you will. And, you know, when he has a feeling about something, it's usually right. So you definitely see him sensing that things are gonna change and that he should probably be careful moving forward because everything could be on the line really soon.
Vin has a talent where what he wants like really does manifest. Helen Mirren, Charlize Theron, Jason Momoa, and he's just, first of all, he's so charming, and he loves this franchise so much, and he believes in it so much. So I don't doubt that he could get whoever he wants for it, honestly. This has been my dream. I've been basically begging to be in these movies for years now. I have a great video of me like running around my house squealing when I got the news that I got to be part of this franchise. It's just, I hold it with great esteem.
Normally the Fast experience is you go in wanting to be entertained and at the edge of your seat, and you leave completely fulfilled. And they end with a toast and a recap, and it's essentially a chapter is closed and let's see what happens next. This is not that. This obviously sets the stage for something larger. You're left in suspense, you're left, you know, wanting answers. It's a very different vibe than any of the other chapters of Fast and Furious.
This franchise is aging very well. It's visually stimulating. There's so much heart and love in it. Everything comes down, all the stuff that we deal with in the real world, it all comes down to love and family. That's what matters the most. I know people joke about family and how much we stress family, but we need family and we need love right now more than ever in the world. So it's okay for us to continue stressing family and stressing love, because we have to, a lot of us live vicariously through these characters, and we get hope. We get a sense of confidence and a sense of hope just by watching the screen and living vicariously through each other. That's powerful. That's what cinema is supposed to be all about. I heard Vin say it before, this isn't a movie, this is a lifestyle.
I love the dance over all these years with Tej and Roman, and when we get on the set, most of the things that we end up doing is within the context, but you can never write the magic and the chemistry and the spontaneity that we come up with impulsively on the set. Believe me, I'm not hurting for ideas, so if we're doing this for another 20 years, the spontaneity is gonna keep coming.
I have to thank the fans, because also without the fans, I would not be here. You know, the whole Justice for Han campaign was from the fans. We are all connected, and without the audience, without the fans, we have nothing. We wouldn't be here.
One of the main things I hear from fans about Fast and Furious is how it really is a family affair. Like, it's something that they do with their family. Like, oh, a Fast and Furious movie's come out, and so everyone kind of gets together and watches. And if you think about the span, the many years that these movies have been going, like, there's entire generations that have grown up with them.
They're films that make you want to go to the theater. They're films that you want to go with your family. And that matters. That's really fun to me. They're things that we eventize, and I think that I really personally value that. I love discussing them and talking about them with my friends and family, and so my friends and family are truly freaking out over this. They finally think I'm cool.
I like having fun when I direct. I like having fun directing. I like the audience to have fun. I like the actors to have fun while this is happening. It is true entertainment on a massive canvas. Because Fast and Furious is seen on the biggest screens around the world. You know, IMAX, Dolby Vision, I mean, you name it. You will experience this movie on a giant format. So what a better way for me and a better canvas for me. And I had all the toys that I want. I mean, I love my toys. I would create stuff, and I would create, that's my thing. Is like, if I don't make a movie where I create camera moves that have never been done before, or equipment that have never been done before, I haven't done my job. So that's what I tried to do, you know, from the get-go. Obviously, I had no runway, but I had the best crew, really honestly the best crew in the world. I didn't change anyone, didn't bring anyone. I was like, this is literally the best crew in the world. Let's go.
I can't say enough good things about Louis. He's the 6th director to be a part of this mythology. But what he brought was so special. He has a tireless work ethic. Kindness is his superpower. What I gravitated towards was how much he truly loved the franchise.
Louis was a godsend. We're about to venture off and pass on the torch, if you will, with the franchise. It's incredibly important that whoever takes on the task of directing the next, you know, 2 aspects of this process to really be there to give it all like the rest of us are, and to take whatever comes, you know, no matter what comes at them, and make magic out of it.
One of the things that's made this franchise so special and so relatable for people is that the relationships on and off screen are built out of love. It's the reason why I've had people come up to me and say, you know, I used to say that I learned an appreciation for cars from your franchise, from your saga. And as I got older, I realized I learned about brotherhood and family.
You know, it all was figured out that I was going to be in the film. I got this text that said, can you go to Vin's house for dinner tonight? And I was like, what? And I showed up, and his 3 kids were at the door. And they immediately were like, Bree, I want to show you this, I want to show you that. You got to meet the dogs, you got to go on the trampoline, you got to do this. And I got to become close with them before I ever set foot on the set. And I think that's just a testament. It's all part of his process too. I don't think that that was an accident. That's all by design. That by the time my feet were there on that set, I felt like I belonged to be there. I felt safe. and I actually based my character off of his daughter.
Michelle, I met in Italy. That was awesome. I met her before, but she was super welcoming. Charlize was everything I wanted her to be. She's a queen, professional. She's unbelievably talented. She's okay looking, you know what I mean, like things like that. But aside from that, I'm like, wonderful first day experience. But Vin has been, you know, he's wonderful and he's fabulous and he's fun to be around. And then you know, the moment they go action, it just switches into Dom and you're like, oh, wow. And the voice hits and everything, the cadence hits. And it's just different than who he is. And I really I enjoy both. I enjoy watching him play Dom, and I enjoy Vin as, you know, running and having responsibility for this franchise for 20 years, so.
I think the barbecue scenes, because they're so iconic, they mean so much because it's like the Torettos are there. One of us gets to say a prayer. This time it was someone very, very special. We have our abuela, our grandmother, who's played by Rita Moreno. When Vin told me Rita was joining, I was like, what? We take so much time with the barbecue scenes, and oftentimes they're not scripted because we want to allow for spontaneity and the magic that's happening between the characters. And oftentimes, like, Tyrese comes out with something that's really funny, and that you know, elicits something out of Chris, and just, you know, the natural chemistry that's built over the years comes out, and they're really fun.
What's so special about this particular barbecue scene? There's a lot that I can say, but Rita Moreno kind of rings very special in my brain about how the matriarch of the entire family is making her debut, and the heart and the love and the energy that you can feel through the screen is gonna be unimaginable. It's going to be unmatched. It's going to be second to none. So if you feel this magic coming through the screen, you can only imagine what we felt sitting right next to her while she was delivering such a powerful acting performance.
One of the things that is so impressive about this particular franchise is that it has brought every kind of person to the screen, every nationality, every color, every shade, particularly because it came at a time when nobody was really caring about such things. I mean, it's really quite astonishing. But it's, you know, is a testament also to, again, to Vin. It's hard to talk about this franchise without constantly mentioning Vin, because it's what he brought to it. Not only nationalities, but heights. Some guys are very tall who are in this movie. I met some of them, and it was just hilarious. I mean, I was talking to their belt buckles, which was really quite comical.
People all the time ask me about the iconic cars. When I think of the Dodge Charger, I think of that moment from the first film in the Toretto garage where Dom and Brian are talking heart to heart. And Dom, he talks about his father, he talks about how he's actually afraid to drive that car, but overall he's talking about this vehicle as though it's a living, breathing entity, which is why we cast cars like other films cast actors.
I think Fast does a really good job of keeping the car as an extension of oneself. The Charger with the supercharger or blower motor is such a direct reflection of Dom. I mean, gold Lamborghini that Roman drives. Everything is like an extension of character. And this case is no different. Jason's got I think it's a 66 Fairlane with an R code 427 and a Thunderbolt hood. Might be automatic on the column, I'm not sure. I mean, we'll check it out later. But that's a really cool car. It's a rival make from the Charger, and it's kind of like Ford's version of what that would be. It's a big body car with the biggest motor they could possibly have. So I think it's Dante's way of saying, I'm you, but in a pure evil sense. It's a really good visual of the two individuals, their two personalities, and extensions of themselves. And I think, like I said, Fast does that really well by making a car who the person is.
I was baffled. I was like, I can't believe I'm gonna let me do all this stuff. I mean, I'm glad it's over now, but you know, it was the most nerve-wracking thing I've done because there's a lot of stuff to take in. There's the environment and being in Rome, like you can't stop that quick. You don't have that much of a runway. You've got to pull something off very quickly. There's extras going everywhere, even though they're, you know, stunts probably, but it's I mean, that's the thing I love about it, because you're just like, boom, you're in the moment. Like, you're right. You have to be super sharp, but it's still nerve-wracking. And when you're done, I'm like, I want to do it again.
The cool thing is they, B and Jacob have worked on this Canon car together, and it's really cool looking. I don't know how they took a 66 or 67 El Camino and made it into like this Mad Max 4 cannon thing that shoots milk carton size shells to clear paths and to get out of harm's way. It really is a cool moment for the duo. Like, you really see them kind of hit their stride.
Everyone in these films are a badass, right? They've got the cars, they've got the fighting and everything. And Ramsey's just like super, super smart. And to have a woman who is so brilliant, like genius level at tech, which is, women are very underrepresented in that field. I've always enjoyed people like celebrating that and telling me how much they love her kind of brilliance and her intelligence, and yeah, that makes me smile.
It's a great set. It's been a pretty gnarly couple years. I have to say this is one of the funnest experiences I've ever had in filming, and truthfully, I had been warned coming on. It was gonna be challenging, it was gonna be tough, and it's been awesome. And I have had the best goddamn time, so.
It's an amazing thing. Like, they've all known each other for so long, been through so much together, and they've also been playing these characters for so long that they have all of this deep knowledge. And so I was the new kid at school, just excited to like sit at the same bar as them, drink tequila and pick their brain.
It's always bittersweet to think about the end of a journey that's meant so much to you, and it's been such a part of your life. And it's so important for us to honor all of you who have adopted this as your saga, as the world saga. So it is the beginning of the end of the road. It's where the end of the road begins. We make these movies with our hearts and our souls. And we are so grateful that you have always been there with us. And we always hope to make you proud.
Everybody out of the way. Sir, you mind? Get in and out of that. I mean, come on.
Yeah, definitely.
You won't be able to do it. You will not be able to get in and out.
I can't.
Not with this hairdo.
That's what you tell him.
Damn!
The race is getting in and out of the car.
That's $1 million.
That's $1 million.
Wow. That thing's badass.